Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I have a classic film review today and it's a little bit different. It's actually a classic anthology film review. Anthology movies have been going for quite some time and this one was released in 1993 and is called Body Bags. And there are four segments, three really. Two of them were directed by John Carpenter and the third was directed by Tobe Hooper. So as you could imagine there's some pretty decent pedigree going on. And in 1993 they both pretty much had the mojo still there. John Carpenter, you could argue, was starting to lose his according to some critics. So what we get here, like I say, is three stories, and this is a massively star-studded cast. If you look at the cast list for this, it's a who's who of horror. Like I say, the wraparound story here is the morgue, and the character in this is primarily played by John Carpenter, even though we do get a couple of cameos later on. And he's introducing the stories to us from the morgue. And the first story that we get is one called The Gas Station, which is what I said, directed by John Carpenter. And it is about a young lady who is starting her first night shift working at a gas station. She takes over from Robert Carradine, and she's then left to deal with the to's and fro's of this gas station through the night shift. Now, what we hear on the radio as she's pulling into the gas station is that some grisly murders have taken place. There's a few mentions here. It mentions Haddonfield. I think this is set in Haddonfield, which obviously is from the Halloween movies. We hear on the radio that there has been some murders, so everyone's a little bit on edge. She's alone in this gas station all night. Customers turn up, and one of the people she encounters may or may not be what they appear. Might be someone who's a little bit nasty. That's it. There's cameos in this segment all over the place. It's a wonder to behold in regards to that. The second story that we get is one called Hair, which stars Stacey Keach and Sheena Easton, and we get David Warner and Debbie Harry in this one. And basically it's about male vanity, this one. Stacey Keach is going thin on top. He's really losing his confidence. It's making him unhappy, and he goes to a treatment centre, and they magically make his hair grow back pretty much overnight by using this newfangled technique. However, it does come with its own side effects, this technique, to horrific effect, I suppose you could say. This is quite a comedic segment at times. It doesn't take itself too seriously. In fact, you could say that about all the segments. There's a layer of humour undergoing all of them, really. There's an undertone of humour in them all, and there's a very 90s feel to each and every one of them. Like I say, it really does have that feel of the 90s, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. The final segment we get is one called I, and it stars Mark Hamill, which I'd completely forgotten about. That was a nice surprise for me. I'd forgotten about Mark Hamill in this movie. Twiggy, who not convinced about her acting in this segment. And Roger Corman as well. We get the legendary B-movie director. He plays a doctor who performs a revolutionary new surgery on Mark Hamill's eye, who is a baseball player who loses his eye in a car accident. And they try out this new technique to transplant an eye into him so he can carry on playing baseball. But things don't go as planned, as the person whose eye this was before Mark Hamill was somebody of questionable morals, shall we say. Quite an interesting one. This is probably the most horrific one of the three in regards to the horror elements. It's more true horror. There's no humour in this. Mark Hamill is deliciously evil at times in this. You see bits of his Joker character coming out in this. But overall, this is by no means the strongest anthology movie I've ever seen. It probably wouldn't even make my top 10 if I did a top 10 of anthology movies. But it's a lot of fun. And it's of its time. It is of the 90s. It shows the talents of everybody involved, namely John Carpenter and Tobe Hooper, but it's also a wink to the audience as well, especially with all the cameos from all the horror legends that are in this movie, like Wes Craven and Sam Raimi, you name it, they're all here. So this is a nice little anthology movie to watch, really. So I think you should give it a go if you've never seen it.